back to the channel. In today's video, we're being joined by Diana today. Diana, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good. Thanks for coming on. So we're going to be going over her story, how she got started selling on Amazon. She's also really big into travel and credit cards. So we're going to cover a wide range of topics. If you want to start us off, just kind of tell us about your background and how you got started selling on Amazon.
Yeah, so I actually started out just by scrolling on social media. It was TikTok, and I found this Amazon FBA person. He goes by the name Nate. And so I kind of just would see TikToks on like what he was doing. Like he was mostly like his TikToks would be like Marshalls and like Target. And I was like, oh, that looks easy. I could do it. Like at the same time though, this was like probably late 2020. And so I was thinking about it. Like I already had this idea that I wanted to do this. It's just like the time and the capital. That time I was a graduate student, so I was getting my master's and I was like, okay, well, I have to raise a little bit of capital to get started. And I really didn't start till probably April, mid 2020. I think the beginning of April, I sent my first shipment and I got approved to sell on Amazon probably like the late of February that I believe. But it just took me a while just because I was like kind of nervous, like, what if this doesn't work out? And then you find out about ungating. So I try to get ungated by wholesalers, like in, I believe the first categories were toys, beauty, and groceries. Actually, no, just kidding, not groceries, but those two, just so I can be able to get a little bit more products. And so I've been doing this a little bit more for like a year now, and there's been a lot of learning curves, but I've been doing it. And, right now it's a lot just scaling and, building those systems where I don't have to do much of the work. I'm an analyst and I work from home. So it's a lot. I don't do this full time, but that's like one of my goals eventually. But that's a little bit how I got started.
All right, cool. Did you start with retail arbitrage?
Yeah, I did. I think I went. So I live in Washington, the Pacific Northwest. So I live in the Seattle area, and there's a store. I think they're kind of the part of the Kroger's brand, the store called like Fred Meyer's that they're like everywhere. And I started out there scanning like these clearance items, and I took home some like notebooks and pens and a little bit of toys. So I did that. And so now I still do retail arbitrage, but it's very time consuming. I mostly do online arbitrage for now, but I still go in a couple of times like a month to do retail.
Yeah, I started with retail arbitrage as well, but like you said, it's just like time limiting after a while.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
eventually, like around a year ago, switched to 100% online arbitrage. And it's like you can just spend so much more money so much faster, and it's just a much more
Mhm.
scalable business model.
Yep, that's so true. I think, yeah, it's a time thing for me, and I just
Mhm.
don't have the time to be doing it all the time. Like, and it's right now, you have to drive out and come back and
Yeah.
prep it. So it's a lot of time.
Mhm. So, how does your business operate today?
Yeah, that's a very good question because I think the past, like since this year started, so the past 5 months, it's been really trying to, how can I run this business more efficient without me doing the most work? So I usually do most of the product research and finding the products. I actually tried a VA, but I just don't think it went well because I didn't have the capacity to train this person on how I do it. And so I usually run it myself. And the product researching part, I recently got a prep center in April just to, you know, take away a little bit more time for me doing the prepping. And now I'm just wanting to, like, I guess, scale it a little bit more. I have a lot of capital on hand, but it's just really probably trying to add someone to help me with the product sourcing. So that's currently how I run it.
Gotcha. Do you think you're gonna try the VA route again?
Yeah, I think so. I've heard a lot, a lot of my following base tells me like it's really how you train them. And so if you don't have the capacity to train them, they're just gonna do what they have experienced in. And I think I will. I think it's probably sometime this summer I'll start doing that again just to be able to grow it a little bit more and faster.
Yeah, hiring VAs is a really, really good way to get your time back or scale or both, whatever you're trying to accomplish. You said that you have like a lot of capital and maybe not the capacity to train or whatever. You might consider doing their services or like they will train the VA for you. Fast
Mhm.
Track FBA is one. I don't know if you've heard of those or thought about doing that.
No, I haven't.
Yeah, so that's
So that'd
definitely
be
an
really,
option.
yeah, that'd be something to consider.
Yeah. So since you're doing a lot of the product research, what are like your primary sourcing strategies that you're using to find those products?
So at the beginning, I used to do it all myself, which was again time consuming. I would just like go through Target or Walmart and be like, oh, I could sell this. Let me look and go check for profits. And then I started doing more of using tactical arbitrage, but there's a lot of flaws like in the software and it just wasn't working. It wasn't worth like the money. And so now I have a list of replenishables now because I've been doing this for a while that sell every month. So that helps me a lot. I'm in a couple of discords that, have products, but they're sometimes get very saturated. But it gives me an idea of like a similar product that could sell in, but it's not the same listing or something identical. So it gives me ideas to pick up. I've learned recently in the past couple of months how to do like reverse product research. And then also I do a lot of storefront stalking. I think I'm pretty sure you're in it in a group text, but it sums up pretty much my life the past 3 months. I will just go through stores and be like, all right, now I got a product to sell. So that's probably one of my favorite ones that I do like every day and it helps a lot. So I do a little bit of everything for right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, storefront stocking is such a good method. That's like the number one method that I teach my whole team to use. We're
Mhm.
basically either storefront stocking or just mainly going through website sales. The storefront stocking makes so much sense because when someone's selling something, it's a good assumption to assume that they're making money on it. So
Mhm.
just going through those products that they've already found and letting them do all the heavy lifting for you.
Yep, that's so true, and a lot of the times they're like sellers probably like you or probably a little bit better. I mean, I've noticed a difference between like the ratings of the store. Like obviously if they have like 100,000 stars like ratings, like maybe they get like wholesale and like I don't have that. So just looking at people that are identical to me and getting the view of like what they're doing or people a little bit above has been really helpful.
Yeah. What are some of your goals for your business this year?
So that's a good question. One is to like find a VA. I have a prep center and I still do some of it myself, but I try to send most of it to my prep center. So I'll have that kind of figured out. One is a VA, at least get one or two people on my team to like form a team to kind of help me do that. And then it's my second Q4. So there's a lot that I learned in the past Q4. And so I'm really using that to my advantage and kind of starting now. It helped me a lot. I mean, Target.com has a lot of toy sales in the summer just because it's not so popular. And so I remember like stocking up last year in like June, and that helped me a lot. Like I could double my profit in December compared to selling it in June. So getting ready for that because it's already June. But those are for this year. I mean, we're already halfway through the year, and I've done a lot of learning to help me get to where I am now that I'm ready to like start using all the stuff that I've learned and really going all out these next couple of months.
So you said that you last year bought stuff in June and then sold it in December. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So I was just, it was my first Q4, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start prepping. So I would just get toys on sale. Like Target has some really nice offers sometimes. It's like buy 100, get $25 off, like stuff like that. You could just keep reusing. And so a toy that I could make like probably a $10 profit during that time, I would just wait because, maybe it was a really popular toy and now it's sold out during like the Q4 time. So now I can double it and like increase my price. So I was making like way higher profits waiting. I was obviously doing sourcing and sending in shipments, on a regular, but just holding off like on toys and stuff that, could be a bigger profit in the winter time or
Yeah, that makes
Christmas
sense.
time.
Do you do you prefer the like longer holds for higher profit method, or do you generally go the opposite way and like you sell it faster, but you're okay with a lower profit?
That's a very good question. I think I'm in between because I this was a big mistake of mine when I first started Amazon's, like, I was only focusing on products that would give me, like, at least, like, 80% or higher ROI, and so, obviously, I wasn't growing as fast. And now I will go anywhere from like lowest like 20% ROI just because I've been seeing a difference. And so something too that I like messed up on is holding inventory and just letting it sit there. Like you literally have to be shipping out things constantly in order to see it growing. And so not holding off like completely, but for me, the summer is a really big season for me too because I did really good at it last year. And so I already know what sells well. And so I would kind of hold that, like buy stuff in the winter where it was kind of cheaper. And so now I'm starting to send it out or already started to send it out. So it's mixture, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's kind of transition a bit and talk about credit cards and travel. Just give us like an overview of what you like to do, maybe some tips for someone who wants to take advantage of that.
Yeah, so I probably got my first business credit card in like late August, and I heard so much like you had to do like all of this, you had to get like a address that wasn't your home address and just all this stuff, and I was like there's no way I'm not going to pay someone $500 to get me a business credit card. And I started out with this company actually called Divvy, and I saw it somewhere on social media, and it's kind of like you have to pay in full every month. And after a month, I was able to get like an American Express card. And so that was huge. And so now I have like 5 business credit cards, and it's only been since October. But something that this business model selling on Amazon has an advantage is we're always buying inventory. So those points add up so quick. Those
Mhm.
sign up offers, like you hit them quick. It's not compared to like your personal where, you're like, oh, well, I don't know if I'll hit it and get the bonus. So something like I've been doing, like literally, I get a card, hit the sign up offer, get my points. I've been booking trips since then. And then I'll do the same. I'll kind of rinse and repeat, but I'm also not making sure like I'm going to use these cards long term. A lot of these cards, some of them have big annual fees, and I have to be like, is it worth it? Like, also have the American Express Delta Reserve card. So I'm like, okay, so I fly Delta a lot. This is worth the annual fee, based on like the benefits and stuff. So, the points also is not just for people that travel. I've heard people like DM me. It's like, but I don't travel a lot and like I barely travel. And I'm like, okay, a lot of these cards too, you can like get statement credit. So pretty much some of your stuff could be free that you're reselling and you take home a bigger profit. Some American Express cards let you get gift cards. And so just stuff like that people don't think of. And it's actually easier than you think. And so I honestly, I don't know my credit limit in total for all my cards, but I have a pretty big scale. I have the platinum card. That helps a lot. Like that was, I think, my second business credit card. And that helps a lot because there is technically no preset limit, but there is. And so that has helped a lot with like buying as much inventory compared to someone that, only has like $2,000 to spend on capital. So credit cards are a huge advantage. Some people have asked me if I take loans or the Amazon loan that sometimes is on your homepage. I have not tried that just because I have credit cards and I like racking up the points. I just went to Hawaii and it was pretty much free. I'm gonna book a trip to Florida. That's pretty much gonna be free just because I have like this Amazon business. I'm always constantly buying inventory and I think they're worth it, and the annual fees you just kind of have to decide for yourself. And there's a lot of business credit cards too that don't have annual fees, like a lot of the Chase ones don't. So there's something of that to consider if you don't want to spend that much in annual fees.
Yeah. Do you have favorite business card? And then maybe if it's different, one that you recommend as like a beginner business card?
Yeah, my favorite, I'd say, be the platinum card. There's just a lot of advantages, like a lot of travel advantages for sure. I like the lounge access, and then also like some of the things that it has to offer. Like there's a lot of things like there's like a $400 credit you get from Dell. I've never used it, but I should because it's like
Yeah.
$400 right there. But there's just so much like credits I adds up. So that would be my favorite, and just because of like the limit. And then for beginners, I probably would recommend one of the American Express cards. So I don't have personally, but the Plum card is really nice for those who are starting out and kind of a little worried about these annual fees, or also the green card as well. Those I've heard are good. I don't personally have them because, I take the time to do my research, and I don't mind paying annual fees if I see it worth it. But I would say those would be good ones for beginners.
Yeah, those are great cards. I'm Team Amex all the way. I've
Yeah.
got the Plum, Platinum, and Gold now. The
Mhm.
Plum is my first one, and I really recommend that one to beginners as well. It's
Mhm.
easy, there's no annual fee. 60-day payment terms are awesome, especially if you have cash flow issues. And then
Mhm.
I just view it as a way to get your foot in the door with Amex. Like they
Mhm.
started me off, I think I had like a $13,000 spending limit. There's no preset,
Mhm.
but like you said, there is a limit. And they've grown that like more than 10 times since. And 8 months or so. And the more your cards you get with them, the more they're gonna give you access to capital. And yeah, I love Amex. Great company.
Yeah, I totally agree because I probably 4 of them of my cards are now, like, American Express, and once you get the first one and you at least make, like, 1 or 2 payments, like, monthly payments, like, they're gonna approve you so easily for the
Yeah.
next one. So they're really big on that, and so that's what I tell people, especially people that have cash flow issues.
Hmm. Yeah. Are you using Rakuten to get cash back as well?
Yeah, so that's a big hidden gem that I didn't find
Yeah.
out till probably November. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've been missing out on so much. There's a lot of 10% cash back,
Yep.
which are the best. And sometimes I use the cash back for myself as a pay, but sometimes I use it for my business. But that's a huge thing that people need to get on because it's like a lot of websites that, people that me use like Target, and I'm big on Ulta, sourcing on Ulta. So there's a lot of good cashback rewards for that.
Yeah. Rakuten's awesome. It's literally free money. If you don't have it yet, you need to get it. I hit a 10% sale today at Macy's. I spent like
Mhm.
2,500 bucks. So $250 free that all I
Mhm.
had to do was click a button. It's awesome.
Yep. Yep. I definitely agree.
Yeah. So are you taking the Rakuten payments as cash or are you converting them to Amex points?
Well, okay. Now I didn't know you could convert into Amex points. I do it just cash through PayPal, but I did not know that.
Yeah, you can set it up to where instead of getting paid in cash, they set it up as Amex points and then it
Mhm.
transfers into your account every quarter. I just activated it like a month ago, but that's what I'm doing
Oh,
now.
cool. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that because I like, as you know, I'm really big into Amex points,
Yeah,
so I think that would be more convenient because I do a lot with those. So I'm gonna look into that.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's pretty much it. What's some advice that you have to someone just getting started out on Amazon or just any other general
Mm.
advice that you have?
Yeah, I would say the biggest mistake you could do in this model is being cheap in your business. And by that, I mean is not investing into softwares or things that can help you scale your business a little bit faster and better. So that was a big mistake of mine. First of all, the keep a paid version is everything, but I thought I could get away with the free one, which was one of the biggest mistakes. Now that I'm going back, I've been using keep a paid probably since like February now, but I should have started in like May last year when I first started. That's like probably one of the worst things you could do, like not invest into softwares. Another great software that I like is Inventory Labs. So I didn't start using that until I got a prep center because they required me to. But let me just say how much time I saved using that software before I started. So I've been doing this for a year. I would have an Excel sheet and I would list every product and how much I was spending and how much profit. And then I would just calculate my profit for every box that I would send. And I got Inventory Lab and I was like, oh my gosh, this does it all in one. Like, what have I been doing? And I hated sourcing and like then coming back to prep it because of this Excel sheet. I just didn't like it. And I'm like, where have I been like these past couple of months? And so that's what I mean by like being cheap because I've costed myself a lot of time, and time is money. So if I could go back and change things, I would say is invest into the right softwares. Another big piece of advice is like your network and your connections. And I have a pretty good network on social media where if I ask for help, someone will just email me, DM me, and then I would get so much help and ideas from that person or other people. So that is really key to like helping myself grow. I think a lot of the people too that help me are people that are doing way better than me. And I think surrounding myself with people like that has kind of pushed me a little bit more to, grow and be better in this business model. So I think connections is everything. I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Not so much on Twitter, mostly on Instagram, but Twitter has a lot of Amazon sellers that do very well. But I like Instagram a little bit more for for social media and Amazon FBA.
Yeah. Where can everybody find you at on IG and Twitter?
I think the same, ecomdiana.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the same for both. But yeah, that has helped a ton because I don't think I'd be where I am without like all this help. Like, that has led me to Discords, leads lists. I've tried leads lists before too. I don't do it now, but also just like when something comes up, like a little error, like I'm like, what do I do? Like, you have people to help you. I'm not trying to figure this out on my own, which back then I was, and it's a whole mess. It's stressful, but there's a lot of people that are more knowledgeable than yourself. And I think just kind of also realizing that because that has helped me a lot. And then another one I would say is not taking risk. So that's very huge because a lot of people are like that come up to like DM me and like, well, I want to get started, but what if I send like $1,000 and I just lose my money? It's like, okay, you got to take risk. I did the same thing. I literally sent $3,000 like my first shipment. And I was like, if I lose this, I lose this. But hey, I tried. If I don't lose it and I make my money, oh, there we go. You got to take risks and with sending things and being comfortable spending to be able to like grow because if you think of it too, like as an entrepreneur mindset, it's everything. I had to take a risk with a prep center, like the thought of myself not doing it and just sending it to a prep center in Florida is scary. It's very scary when you're sending like thousands of dollars of inventory. So everything in this model is kind of taking risk. The
Yeah.
whole VA thing, I tried it out, but it's just that. And if you think of it too, like nothing good came from not taking risk.
Mhm.
It's just people have to be willing to do that, especially in this business model.
Yeah, you got to be willing to take risks. One of my favorite movies is The Greatest Showman, and there's a scene
Mhm.
in there where P.T. Barnum takes out like a loan to really expand the
Mhm.
business, and Zach Efron says to him, "You're going to risk losing everything," and his response is, "Well, how do you think I've built it?" So like you have to be willing to take risks in order to grow your business.
Yep, that's so true. And especially with this Amazon business, there's just been so many like things that come up, Yeah, sometimes Amazon loses your shipment and you gotta like go to them and be like, hey, I lost my shipment. Like, online, not in person, but you got to take care of those things. And there's a lot of things that are going to go wrong down the path, like while you're doing this. But it's just really like noticing that in the beginning. And we see it so easy too on social media, like, oh, okay, you just sent inventory. But then there's so many like roadblocks that come up, and you're like, oh my gosh, while you're in it. And so that goes on to my next piece of advice is like really developing that mindset because a lot of these people that say like Amazon FBA is a scam, like I tried it, it just didn't work out, or people that literally like probably started within 3 months and just quit. And by then, if you don't have a lot of cash flow, you're not really going to see like any profits because you're going to keep on reinvesting it, especially if you're limited on your cash flow. And so you're not going to see like any profits. And that's where people quit and they just call everything a scam. So really having that mindset that's going to take a really long time to, be able to get to like a lot of successful people in this business. I mean, I'm gonna ask you, how long have you been doing this?
A little over 2 years. I started in April of
Okay.
2020.
Okay, see, yeah, you've been doing it for a long time and you've done really well. So, it's not gonna take 3 months. It's really like a work hard kind of business and, it's not easy and it's definitely not passive income at the beginning because we see that a lot. It is not passive income. There's nothing passive about myself doing product research. There's nothing. So just realizing that and, sometimes we believe everything on social media and there's a lot of people that don't influence this business model in the right way. But I think, if you come in knowing that it's going to take hard work, you can do really good in it and be really successful. But it's just really about your mindset. Because, like, again, there's going to be a lot of roadblocks and you're going to want to quit, but it's really about your mindset. And so that's something that I had to realize quick in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed this interview and got value out of it. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, thank you, Logan.